Hi pals, welcome to Lab. Today we will be reading Barack Obama, Son of Promise, Child of Hope by Nikki Grimes, illustrated by Bryan Collier. One day, Hope stopped by for a visit. It was early evening, and a boy named David sat on a tenement floor, glued to the TV. "Who's that?" the boy asked his mother, pointing to the screen. His mother looked up from a frayed sofa and set her newspaper aside. "That's Barack Obama," she said. "Barack what?" "Barack Obama," she repeated with a smile. "I know it's a mouthful. Anyway, he's someone very special." "Why?" "Well, for one thing, how come those people are shouting his name? Because are they all his friends? They must be his friends. What's his name again? Boy, you are about to wear me out." "Sorry," David whispered. The mother patted a spot on the sofa beside her. "Come," she said. "If you sit still, I'll tell you his story." They used to call him Barry. His family stretched from Kansas to Kenya. His mama, white as whipped cream. His daddy, black as ink. His mama's folks, Gramps and Toot, were part of the first family he ever knew. Love was the bridge that held them all together. In Hawaii, breathing in the scent of ginger blossoms, Barry grew, swimming, surfing, and spearfishing next to the playmates from places like Portugal, China, India, and Japan. And never once did he ask if all those people could get along. They just did. Honolulu looked like heaven. But even though the blue of the sea was sharp enough to slice the sun warmed the sand between his toes, and the sand sparkled like diamonds. Nothing could fill the hole in Barry's heart once his daddy went away. His mom and Gramps and Toot told him brave and funny tales of his father's past to soothe his hurt and make him laugh. But that didn't stop Barry from feeling sad sometimes, especially when he heard the word divorce. Barry's mom married a man named Lolo, and oh, the wonderland he took Barry to, Indonesia, a land of pet gibbons and pet crocodiles. Barry laughed himself silly sliding in the rainy season mud. He caught crickets, flew kites, and joyed in the jungle at the edge of his new home, a perfect paradise, until the sight of beggars broke his heart. Barry started to wonder, will I ever be able to help people like these? Hope hummed deep inside of him. Someday, son, someday. Before dawn each morning, Barry rose, his mother's voice driving him from dreamland. Time for learning English grammar and the golden rule. Be honest, be kind, be fair, she taught him. Your father is smart and strong and full of courage, and you will be just like him. How can I? Thought Barry. I don't even remember his voice. Back in Hawaii, a surprise came one day. "I'm here, son," he heard his father say. Barry listened to the strange song of his father's voice. "Your grandmama says you're doing very well in school." "It's in the blood, I think." Was this tall and skinny Harvard man the one who lived in all these stories? For a time, all Barry could do was stare. As the days passed, they would share talks and walks, and then his dad was gone again, a ghost once more. "Hold tight," said Hope. "This strand of memory is stronger than you know." The sun and moon paraded past Polly's Peak more times than Barry's quick mind could count. Soon he pounded across the high school gym, slamming the basketball his father had sent him one Christmas. A few letters flew back and forth from mother to father, from father to son. Barry was the bridge that connected them. Sadly, some days he felt as if the bridge were sinking. "Who am I?" asked Barry. "I don't look like my mother. I don't look like my father. I only look like me." Barry was dizzy with questions. "You are not your father," a friend told him. "You are not your mother. You must choose your own way." "Choose what?" thought Barry. "Choose how?" He searched for courage inside of himself. Hope was waiting there. Barry's mind spun like a top. How could he know which way to go? "Listen," said Hope, and he did. There it was, the answer repeated like a chorus in his ear. "Education is the key," said Gramps. "Education is the secret," said Toot. "Education is the way," said Mom. "Education is the path," said his father. "Remember, it's in the blood." Barry rolled up his sleeves and studied in the shadow of Polly's Peak, in the shadow of the Hollywood sign, in the shadow of Langston's Harlem. Still, he couldn't stop asking, "Who am I?" Someone called him an ugly name, too terrible to repeat, but he refused to answer to that. Instead, one morning, he slipped on the name he'd been born with, the name of his father, Barack. For the first time in his life, he wore it proudly, like a coat of many colors. When Barack wasn't studying, he liked to jog along the Hudson River. He couldn't help but notice the river of hurt and hate and history that separated blacks and whites. Being both, he could not take sides. "Don't worry," said Hope. "I will be your bridge. In time, you will be the bridge for others." Barack hid his sadness. "Study," said the voices of his childhood. "Watch. Learn. Keep your eyes open." Barack's eyes saw the hungry and the homeless, crying out like beggars in Jakarta, burning a hole in his heart. When his classes came to an end, he raced to Chicago to join hands with the church, to learn new lessons, not how to be black or white, but how to be a healer, how to change things, how to make a difference in the world. The work was grueling, with stretches of failure and puny patches of success. Door to door, Barack went, early mornings, late nights, pleading and preaching, coaxing strangers to march together, to make life better for everyone. He worked as hard as a farmer, planting the words, "Yes, we can," like seeds in spring. Impatient, Barack kept wondering if those seeds would ever sprout. He worried that the hope in him would fade away. One Sunday, when Barack was sitting in church, Barack heard God say, "Slow down. Look around you. Now look to me. There is hope enough here to last a lifetime." Barack smiled, tears rolling down his cheeks. Suddenly, he knew for certain hope would last long enough for him to make a difference. Before Barack chased his future, he visited his past, traveling to Kenya to find his family, his father's bones, and his own place in the circle of Africa. He sat with Amma and Zaytuni, Jane and Sarah, Yusuf and Saeed. He swapped stories with Roy and Bernard, Mark and George, and all the other relatives who had prayed for such a day. Finally, Barack knelt in the soil at his father's grave, listening to the still, small voice that spoke to his heart. "Go now, fly free, become the man you were meant to be. Live in hope, keep the past in memory, but shape your own tomorrow." Hope may be slim and beautiful, but she is no weak thing. Barack proved that when he went to Harvard Law School, convinced people to join hands in Illinois, wrote new laws to give the poor a better chance, he proved it again when all of Washington, D.C. wondered what the skinny kid with the funny name could offer a nation in need. But the hope that lived in Barack burned bright, and on the night he became senator, everybody felt the flame. One star-kissed night 4 years later, as his wife Michelle stood by, Barack smiled on a sea of faces from Wichita to Waikiki. He saw whites and blacks, rich and poor, Christians and Muslims and Jews. He felt the presence of Gramps and Toot. He saw the ghosts of his parents, of Martin Luther King Jr. and JFK. And on that special day, Barack was the bridge that held them all together. "Thank you for electing me president," he said. "Can we make America better? Can we work together as one?" With a single voice, the crowd called out, "Yes, we can." And that is the end of the story. Thank you so much for watching.